Hello, and thank you for watching the replay. It's Ingrid here. Let me see if I am going live. Oh my gosh, my hair, always the hair. Let me see where we're at here in the group and I will share it. I'm on the page, I believe. I'm going live on the page, but I want to make sure I share it into the profitably visible entrepreneur group. Yeah, it's been a while, guys. It's been a wee while. Where is everybody? Where is everybody at today? And how is everybody doing? Oh my gosh, it's not coming on here. Oh, I hope I'm going live. Let's see. We'll just refresh it. There we go. There we go. Let me share it into the group. If you can hear me, please let me know that you can hear me. And I think that's it. We'll see how it goes. If it doesn't, we will share it into the group afterwards and then we'll just have to catch the replay. So let me get myself set up. As you can see, I'm in a different spot today because it's so cold in my office and I haven't quite managed to move back in there after Christmas. So I hope you are doing very well wherever you are at. If you are joining me live, let me know that you're joining me live in the comments. Let me know that you can hear me. I have no microphone on. The hair is doing a lot of frizz because I had been wearing my fluffy hat because it's cold here. And I wanted to make sure that, you lose a lot of heat through your head. So I want to make sure I was covered up. And when it's just me here in this big house all by myself, I just thought, you know what, I'm just going to cover up, save on the heating a little bit, and stay nice and warm. But now I haven't really managed to go back into the office, so I'm not really sure if this setup is working. It's been a while. It's been a couple of weeks since I've been on here. In fact, if you were watching me or following me on Instagram, you know that I've taken a little bit of a hiatus from my business over the last couple of weeks. And I will get back into why that is and why that was in a while. But that's not what we're here about today. If you are joining me live, make sure you let me know in the comments so that I can see the comments, so that I can make sure that I can see the comment box, and that I can catch any questions or anything that you might have. I'm not sure. Let's see if I can see them here. I can see that there's people here, but I can't see any comments. But maybe you're just hanging out, and that's okay too. So let's talk about what we're going to talk about today. Typical, the nose starts to run when I get on live. What we are here to talk about is, I'm sorry, my lighting is going very strange as well because I'm in this not ideal lighting situation. What I wanted to talk to you today about was goal setting and planning for 2020. Now, unless you've been living under a rock in the beginning of the year, everybody's been talking about planning and setting goals. And, even towards the end of last year, it's all about goals, goals, goals. Now, for me personally, even though I'm a coach and I'm a business coach, I'm very focused on achieving goals and metrics and everything that we set out to do. Goal setting for me traditionally has been, I've had a love-hate affair with it. And the reason for that is it has really come to light with me over the last couple of months. And let me kind of paint the picture a little bit, because I know that a lot of the people who I attract are in a similar sort of a situation. They have a similar sort of idea about things and they have that similar sort of mindset. For me, I know that I am here to play a big game. I have a big message and lots to share, right? And lots of people to help with that. And I guess with that comes, the great responsibility, right? Most people who are in entrepreneurship have that same big goal, big vision. They want to do a lot of stuff. And when you are listening and, getting your information from all over on the internet, right? And on podcasts and, you're bombarded all the time with people talking about these specific big goals. And to be honest, so many of them are just arbitrary. Like the big one is the 6 figures, right? Or 100K, or at least 100K, right? That's a big arbitrary goal that everybody seems to feel like they have to reach and have to get towards. And when we start to think of our goals in the framed by other people's goals, they rarely work, because that can seem, first of all, it's not come from us, it's not come from me, right? For me personally, right? That hasn't come from me. And second of all, it's too big, right? I'm somebody who gets easily overwhelmed because I like to do things the right way. And I tend to, we've talked about this before, I'm not a perfectionist in the normal sense of the word, or in what I feel is the normal sense of the word. But I am a perfectionist as in I want to make sure that I'm getting everything done, and everything done the right way, that I'm supposed to do it, right? And if you can agree with that, I would love if you would let me know in the comments if this is something that you have too. But because of that, I tend to, if I'm going to go really big, and I tend to go really hard, and then it's like, if I self-sabotage or anything happens, or I lose sight of what's happening along the way, I kind of almost give up. Like, it seems like it's too far ahead, or it's too big, or it's too out of my reach. And I know this from doing a lot of self-development. What has happened to me in the past, if I set that goal too high, I really do lose sight of what's happening in the present moment. And I lose sight of those micro wins that happen along the way. Hey, Amy, good. I'm glad the chat box is working and you can hear me. So I lose sight of those little micro wins that I've gone along the way. So what I want to make sure that we talk about today is, first of all, yes, goal setting is extremely important, right? Very important. Because if you don't know where you're going, it's going to be really hard to get there, right? In anything, doesn't matter what you're doing, you've got to have that idea of where you want to go. You got to be able to draw some sort of a line in the sand. But what something is that is really important is having those milestone steps for you along the way as well, right? So if we decide we want to go to New York City and we're in Atlanta, we want to make sure that, okay, once we've left the state, we know we've made progress. Once we've got into wherever else we're going, right, we've made more progress. Once we've got into the New York City limits, now we've made progress, right? So the steps along the way that you're trying to go. So if you're trying to, say, launch a group program in a couple of months, you want to backtrack that and see what those smaller steps and where those milestones that you can celebrate along the way will be. Okay, so I'm getting kind of ahead of myself, but first of all, that's the main thing, is that you've got to pick your destination. Now, I really believe in order for you to pick your goal, it has to be something that makes sense for you. And it has to make sense for you and your business, where you're at, the season of business that you're in. And even though, again, I hate to put restrictions on people and say like realistic, because I am a great believer in, manifesting what you want, and it'll happen if it's supposed to. Hey, Sam, nice for joining me. Thank you. I don't like the idea of saying things aren't realistic, right? But we still have to operate within where we're at right now. And if you're not making any money in your business, for you to say that in 12 months' time you want to make 100,000 or 200,000 or 500,000, like that might just be a little bit too much. If you're wired anything like me and you get easily overwhelmed, those goals could be just too big. So a better way for you to do it is to figure out what you can, something that you would like to be able to do. Go from there and then make a stretch goal from that, right? So you want to have your kind of your doable, what you feel is an absolutely, I can do this goal. And then you want to have your stretch goal. And the stretch goal is actually what you should be heading for, right? So that stretch goal will be something that you're thinking, oh, that would be a real stretch. And then some people advocate even having like your in my wildest dreams sort of goal, right? But I definitely have those two goal settings, right? That stretch goal and where you want to be. Now, we're in business, we're business people, I'm a business coach. I believe your business goals should be both in terms of financial and in terms of impact. So financial has to be a part here, because if you're not making money in your business, do we really have a business? Can we call it a business, right? And then the impact is, and how many people do you want to impact? You know, what is that bigger thing that you want to make a difference with? And it could be, you know, it could be something personal to you. It could be, you know, something that affects everybody else. But at the end of the day, it has to be there has to absolutely be a financial goal, and there has to be some sort of an impact goal. So it could be growing your group or growing your following or something like that, or engagement, whatever like that. Okay. So we have that big goal for the beginning of the, or for the end of the year, right? And then the next thing that people tend to do is like, okay, I want to make, so we'll just pick 100,000 because that does seem to be the thing, right? Well, then I'm going to split that 100,000, 12 months in the year. I'm going to make 8,000 a year, right? In and around. And that will then be like, okay, now I'm going from 0 to 8. Which is also extremely overwhelming, right? At least if you're wired like me. And I want to say that, you know, that's just not the way to do it, right? So even if you decide that 100,000 is your goal, and you base that on things like your situation, your values, what you need to have in your business, what you need to make in your business to make it worthwhile to be in business, because let's be honest, sometimes it's easier just to go get a job, right? But if you know that you're here to play that big game, to make that big impact, to make that big difference, set that income goal to reflect that impact that you're making, right? So if it's 100,000, and I'm just doing that because easy math, that 8,000-ish a month, right? Don't break it down like that. Let's start small and go up in increments from that. Because not only will that give you the momentum to keep going, it'll also give you that confidence, and you can start to fund your business from the get-go with money that you're making in your business, rather than, you know, waiting on this day that you're going to make 8,000 or whatever. One day in the future, it'll all start to come. Let's start small. So yes, it is overwhelming. I agree. I'll definitely go into this at some other point. But like, overwhelmed for me in the end of this year, of last year, was the main reason for me having to take a step back, because it's just too much. Now, I also went through an international move, and a lot of different stuff was going on. So that's not ideal. Don't do that. Don't do what I did. But I have learned enough about myself now to know, let's chunk it down. Let's make it smaller. Let's see who we can help and how we can help in a smaller way. It doesn't have to be all or nothing, right? This is definitely something that I've learned, right? It doesn't have to be all or nothing. And so start with that smaller chunk. And even if you were to, you know, do the math and start at 2,000 or start at 1,000 even, or just start at €100, whatever it is, $100, and move up incrementally like that, increasing like by 10% or 20%. It's amazing how quickly you would actually get to that goal. And 10% seems a lot less than like doing like those bigger chunks as we go along. So I just wanted to make sure that that was something that you were taking into consideration. It doesn't have to be to 0. It can build throughout the year. Now, once you've broken it down into those manageable chunks, or something that you can see as manageable chunk, a doable, something that's doable, really get a feel for what that is, and energetically feel that it's already there, that you already have that, right? Because I'm not going to get all woo on you right now, but that's what it's going to take. It's going to take that I'm already there. This is what I have. I am making this kind of money. And here are the things that I do, a person who makes this money does in my business every day. And this is the key to it all. When you're making your plan, make sure that first of all, make sure you have a plan. And second of all, make sure that you are planning out the specific things that are going to make the impact in your business, the specific things that are going to make the income in your business. we need to get really, really specific on the actions that you are taking on a daily basis that are going to move your business forward. All too often, people come to me and I ask them what's their plan for getting clients this month. And they'll say, well, I'm going to show up more on social media. I'm going to be, I'm going to a couple of networking things, or I'm going to go and try and go to some networking locally. Or I'm going to post in Facebook groups and see what happens. But those things are not a plan, right? Those actions do not constitute a plan. First of all, you don't have control over what's happening in a Facebook group, or you don't have control over who you're going to meet at a networking group. You don't have control over that, right? You can be more specific, and you can go to specific places and make sure that that you're showing up, but it's not up to you if everybody decides to stay home that night, right? Or there could be a big snowstorm and nobody gets out to the networking, and then what happens? Your plan crumbles, right? So it doesn't work. So we've got to be really, really specific. I love that word. Sorry, my hair. Really have to find a better way to do lives that don't involve hair. We got to be really specific, and we've got to be tracking and planning these particular things that are actually the things that move the needle. So, for example, if you are wanting to say, launch we'll go back to a group program or some sort of a program. You have really no control over who signs up, right? But what you do have control over is showing up every day, is posting content that, is going to attract your right person, is reaching out individually to people who you think will be a fit, is, showing up for yourself when you said you were going to do, right? Those are things that you can actually do. So you can commit to yourself of going live every day, or whatever the thing is that you're going to do, but decide ahead of time what those things are going to be and put those things in the plan, right? And then one of the things I work with my clients is tracking specific metrics that, if you say that you're going to post 5 times, we're going to make sure that that's one of the things, because we know that doing those little micro goals will end up getting you across the line with those bigger goals, right? If you keep sticking to the plan, right? But that's the difference between doing a strategic plan that's actually going to bring you to your goals and a kind of a willy-nilly plan that's just a kind of a hope and wish for plan, right? So it's very important to detail specifics, and it's very important to track those metrics. And then as your plan goes, don't wait until June to look at your plan to figure out why it's not working, if it's not working, right? We've got to track and we've got to tweak. We've got to test and we've got to tweak. We've got to always keep our eye on the prize, where we want to go, where we are now, and how are we going to match that up? How are we going to fill that gap, right? It's so, so very important, because it's not going to happen on its own, and there is only one person that's going to be able to do it in your business, and that's you. So you've got to be able to stand up, take responsibility that you're in charge, and it starts with you. You're the only person that actually can, pull this over the line, right? Hey, Sam, you're laughing. What are you laughing at my hair? You're the only person that can pull it over the line. Okay. So I just want to make a quick recap on those things, okay? Because I kind of said a lot there. The first thing is, with your goal, decide on where you want your goal to be. Make your goal your own. Don't pick a random number out of the sky just because somebody else is doing it. It has to make sense to you. Base it on your income requirements, on your situation, on the time that you have, and just something that feels good for you, okay? Make sure that you break it down into manageable chunks, and don't start with it all in even chunks, right? Start at the beginning of the year with a smaller goal and make it attainable. this just, I cannot overemphasize this. It'll give you that momentum, and with that momentum, you'll become more confident, and you'll celebrate those micro wins in between. So that's the third thing, is make yourself aware of the milestones and celebrate those milestones as you go. Small wins are everything. Somebody actually who is one of the members of this group, Obehi, she's an awesome productivity coach. Check her out, Aurora Wellness. She suggested on her live this week about doing I don't know what she called it, a micro wins jar or something. So she just got a jar, and I have one, and it's over there with trying to get the label off it right now. But where you put in all of your little micro wins throughout the week or the year or whatever, rather than waiting on these like, oh, I've reached 10,000 or whatever it is. It's like, I got positive 5 likes on a Facebook post, or I got 1 like on a Facebook, whatever it is, it's these little micro wins, and it just helps to fill up your bucket. My kids at school, they always talk about filling up their bucket, filling up somebody else's bucket by talking, saying good things or nice things or kind things or doing kind things for other people. Well, as adults, we have to take responsibility for filling up our own bucket sometimes. So when somebody says something good, or something good happens, or a micro goal happens, and we reach that little micro goal, even if it's like you set out to do content 5 times a week and you do it, like write that down and put it in your little micro goal jar. And hat tip to Obehi for that one. So I'm definitely doing it. I think it's so good, because I tend to miss those small goals. Being a big thinker, and like most entrepreneurs, I think we do. We're such visionaries. We miss those opportunities to celebrate the small wins. So I don't know what number I'm on now. I think I'm on number 4. Track whatever you decide to be your metrics, whatever you decide to be your key performance indicators, right? What are those small things that you do every day that are going to move the needle forward? And those are the things we track, not those big end goals, right? The things that are going to move the domino, knock the domino, right? Knock the biggest domino. We want to track those things. So it could be, posting every day, reaching out to 10 people, going to researching 2 networking groups a day, whatever it is that you're doing, whatever you decide to do, make sure you track them. And whatever you do, ultimately, make sure you have a plan that is yours, a strategic plan. And of course, track and tweak as you go. Now, what I would like to do today is invite you onto a strategy call with me where we can actually go through and formulate your plan. So if you are unsure of where you're at and where you want to go, or maybe you know where you're at, but you don't know where you want to go, in the strategy call, we can formulate that plan together. So we can I'll ask you a lot of questions. We'll figure out where you are and where you need to go. And I'll give you my thoughts on how I feel that you need to get there. Okay. Now, this may or may not involve working with me or doing some sort of a program. As I said to you, I think I might have mentioned in my group, I might not have said it here on the page, that I have opened up some new ways to work with me. So if you've been thinking about it, or you're on the fence, like absolutely, let's have a chat about what that could look like for you. Because in this season, I am opening up some other opportunities, just because I feel like there's a need out there. So even if we've chatted before, I would encourage you to let's get on the call again, just to see where you're at and how things have changed, and make sure that you are working towards that plan. And if you haven't got a plan, like I said, there's no better time than the beginning of the year to set that now and get that ball rolling, because it goes so fast. We're already here into January, well into January, and I feel like we're getting through a slow start here because the kids only got back to school here on Monday. So back to school, back to work here as well. So, but let's not lose the momentum. Like I said, momentum is everything. Rather than focusing on the goal, focus on those small little daily tasks and moving the thing along. Now, the link is for the strategy call is ingridkellyowens.com/strategy. Okay, now all of the comments are coming up. Oh my gosh. Okay. Oh, Okay, Sam, I'm reading your comments. You're like, you're laughing at me knowing you, knowing you, right? I got it for sure. I thought maybe you were laughing at the hair. I probably would be better to keep the hat on, but I'm not going to. I'll wait until I'm not quite that vulnerable yet on my Facebook lives, although I'm working on it. So that is all I have for you today. Oh yeah, and by the way, those strategy calls, I've got all day tomorrow opened up for those. IngridKellyOwens.com/strategy. If you're watching this in the future, there'll still be time to do those, one of those as well. You can always just reach out to me on a DM and we will get that set up. Yeah, so that is all I have for you today. It's almost time to go to the school and catch the littles. So I hope you got some value from that. We are going to do some more trainings exclusively in the Facebook group. So if you're not in there yet, make sure that you join up. There's a link here on the Facebook page for that. And we're going to do some things that are a little bit more specifically on training. But in the meantime, I would love for you to join me on a strategy call or in the group as well. Have an awesome day. Thank you so much. Bye.